Let's also hear now from the direct experience of 5 different teams of practitioners gathered around 5 very important projects that are working, as I mentioned before, to leverage the field for social innovation and social and solidarity economy strategies to be scaled up and replicated everywhere in the Mediterranean. So we have 5 friends here with us. I'll start with the presentations. First of all, we have Cristian Bevacqua. He's MedUP's regional program coordinator, and he works for Oxfam Italia. Hello, Cristian. We also have with us Dr. Samah Saleh. She's an assistant professor at the Department of Social Work at An-Najah National University in Palestine, and she's coordinating MoreThanAJob project for our Palestinian branch of the project. We also have Marco Buemi. He's a senior expert in networking and awareness raising, working for the Tunisian Center of Arab Women for Training and Research, who are leading the InnovAgroWoMed project. Hello, Marco.
Hello, thank you.
We also have with us Sawsan Qodsi. Sawsan works for the Palestinian non-profit organization House of Water and Environment, and she's leading the project SIRCLES in Palestine. The project works on bio-waste. She will tell us about it. Hello, Sawsan.
Hello.
And I lastly want to welcome Dirk Ketelaere. He's a senior researcher with Integrated Resources Management Company in Malta, and they are leading the project Aquacycle. So welcome to all of you. I have prepared some questions that are hopefully well tailored to your different experience. I will ask you then, and then we can continue the conversation in a semi-short way. I have some questions in case the conversation needs some impulse. But please, before I make the question to each of you, it would be great if you could give us a very brief description of the project and the goals that you're achieving or seeking, and main achievements so far. I will start with Cristian, among other things, because MedUP is a project that has already been running for quite some time, perhaps the one that has more development already. So Cristian, social entrepreneurship has gained significant interest and recognition in the past few years, as we have throughout the conversations. And it does tackle social environmental challenges with innovative, sustainable solutions, combining economic activity with social impact. Through your project, there has been a lot of mutual learning and piloting, and we've had the opportunity of reading about it. But you also have conducted plenty of research and have actively engaged with key stakeholders in Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, Lebanon, Jordan, and the occupied Palestinian territories. After all of these years of implementation, what would you say was your level of success in awareness and exposing policymakers to the potential of social entrepreneurship in the MENA region? And where and how, where did you face the major difficulties, let's say?
Thank you, Jose. And first of all, I would like to thank you for the invitation. It's been amazing also to hear from the other colleagues in the previous panel. To respond to your question, as you said, MedUP is now in its 4th and last year of implementation. We started in March 2018, and indeed in these last 4 years we have been implementing a set of activities that indeed now are showing that some concrete results. These activities have been carried out along 3 levels of intervention, and related to your specific question, in MedUP we insisted a lot in trying to promote a kind of ecosystem approach to the social entrepreneurship by putting together and enhancing collaboration among social entrepreneurs at micro level, services providers at meso level, and policymakers at macro level, because the assumption, the underlying assumption is that social entrepreneurs can grow only if they work in an environment where policies are enabling policies, where services are high quality and tailored services to social entrepreneurs. And so social entrepreneurs in these conditions can really develop and create impact. So what we found at the beginning of the project, when we ran the first studies, was a situation in which indeed any specific regulatory framework for social entrepreneurship existed. So the situation was not surprising us, because we were more or less aware of such a starting point, and we tried to transform this problem into a kind of opportunity, because we said, well, even if there are no regulatory frameworks in place, perhaps there are what we call secondary legislations that could be used because they have space for social economy initiatives. And so we started activating a kind of positive dialogue with ministries, policymakers, influencing actors, even from the private sector, that played a role in this in the economy sector, and especially in the social economy sector, because in the social economy in these countries has different stages of development, so it's well spread, but still there is no clear definition, nor common understanding and also meaning of what social economy and social entrepreneurship is. So we activated this public-private dialogue. We organized a lot of events, roundtables in each country. So by mobilizing really the national actors of each ecosystem, and so gathering these actors together around the table, discussing on common topics regarding social entrepreneurship. And what was peculiar in MedUP is the fact that we had the power to bring experiences from Europe. And so with our partners, because MedUP is indeed led by a consortium of partners, Oxfam Italia is leading the consortium, but there are a lot of experts, European experts in this project, like Euclid Network, Impact Hub, DIESIS, among others. So these actors brought these examples, these cases from Europe. And so in these roundtables, these examples were also discussed. And so there were some stimulating debates on how other countries have been undertaking the journey of social entrepreneurship. And in this stimulated thinking, positive thinking around similar processes that could have been happened also in these countries. So today, after 4 years, of course, we can say definitely that there is a major interest, public interest on the topic. Concrete initiatives, especially in Tunisia, Palestine, even in Jordan, Morocco, I would say in all countries, there have been concrete public initiatives towards social entrepreneurship. And MedUP, being a project with, of course, a duration and with some clear objectives to be achieved, wants just to stimulate, to support these national efforts. We don't want to replace any other actor of the ecosystem, but we support whatever a positive effort, institutional efforts in structuring an institutional framework. So the challenges are, of course, still there. We are continuing to support the secondary legislation. And for instance, now in Tunisia, we have a new law, as we all know, released in June 2020. So what we will do, for instance, in Tunisia is to support an action that has hopefully as final result the implementation of the so-called implementing decrees of the law, because if we don't have the implementing decrees, we risk to still have a theoretical framework that has no effect into the sector. So as MedUP, we will continue with our campaigns, advocacy initiatives to ask for concrete actions for the ecosystem. That's in a nutshell the response, but please, if it is not clear, get back to me and I will provide other details.
Thank you, Cristian. As a matter of fact, MedUP has been a source of inspiration and a seed for collaboration for a few of the partners of the people present in this panel. So even if it's coming to an end soon, its results will extend in time, and it's not by chance that MedRise is a new project that takes on many of the competence and lessons learned by the MedUP project. So thank you very much. Samah, hi. How are you? So we're talking about social innovation, experimentation. Is all of this even possible in the context of Palestine, living under occupation and exposed to violence? I mean, Palestine has a tradition of a grassroots economy that led to steadfast resilience of people during very difficult times. But is it possible nowadays to build the sort of trust and collaboration between public institutions and the social and solidarity economy in order to bridge the gap in services, create better jobs, contribute to building a better society, a just society in Palestine, especially for women? And in other words, what are the main challenges that you're facing in such ambitious, an ambitious goal, and how are you trying to overcome the challenges there?
Okay, thank you for this big question, and thank you for like this rich discussions from the morning till now. As you said, in Palestine, it's historically based on grassroots organization, and we have lots of cooperatives in different aspects in order to survive and to face this kind of occupation we are suffering for a long time. And this taught people how to find strategies and ways to live this kind of everyday life. In the other hand, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the experience of More Than a Job, which is a new experience in Palestine. It's like the idea is always working for at targeting vulnerable groups and employment and refugees and all this kind of marginalized group. But in this way, in this project, we are trying to apply the best practices in order to make this kind of bridge between the social solidarity economy and the public administration. In the beginning, it was kind of a strange approach to bring or to build this kind of bridge, because usually we have the civil society, they work and they have their own organizations and they have their own projects, which is working on the community for historically long time, even longer from the public administrative here in Palestine, the government. And doing this, we are trying to make this kind of dialogue and collaboration, because each has their own program, they have their own policies and strategies. So in this project, we are trying to bring this kind of dialogue, try to make this collaboration in order to improve the situation. Because looking into the different initiatives we have in Palestine and different programs, sometimes because of the challenges, of course, with the occupation, this is like one of the things that we always talk about. But in addition, also we have kind of financial crisis here. We don't have a sustainable economy, and we don't have lots of resources in Palestine. So in creating this kind of collaboration between the public administration and the civil society, it's a pilot project, let's say. It's a way to find doors that we can open in order to have this sustainability, in order to have this kind of collaboration and networking among the different actors in the community. By talking about social inclusion here, of course, one of the main things is to target marginalized groups and unemployed women, refugees, and other many marginalized groups here in Palestine. It is easy to access them through the civil society, and of course we have this kind of culture of cooperatives and that exists in Palestine. And at the same time, now the government tried to create this program that is supporting cooperatives and also supporting the social solidarity economy as a way of seeking independency. So by making this kind of like launching the call for the sub-grants, we have in Palestine 2 sub-grants that the MoreThanAJob is supporting, which is part of like many other countries. We are trying to use this kind of techniques by making the SSEs or the civil society and the small sub-grants communicating with the public administration and the different governmental organization in order to find this kind of agreement to work together in order to reach a wider population, and at the same time to achieve the goals of empowering the marginalized group, inclusion, and making it kind of trying to create some social change, let's say, through this initiative, and to improve the marginalized group situation, and in order to move beyond the financial crisis. So far, with the 2 projects, it's working. Let's say like this. Now they are trying to make this kind of training, because one of the things that in MoreThanAJob we are doing is to make in these sub-grants, it's like to train some population, marginalized population, and then they have to find some kind of create jobs for themselves through this kind of training, and then they become independent. They don't need the support that they are seeking all the time, and and at the same time, in parallel with this, we are trying to, as a group of communicating with the civil society, communicating with the different public administration, we are working on policy, writing different policy briefs, and then we are going to try to think about the best practices, how to embed it in the practices that all the civil society are using and the public administration are using. It is kind of a learning experience for all of us to use this kind of approach to reach the population and try to make it more formal than informal as usual. And yeah, this is kind of working because we are reaching a wider population. We are learning about the different cooperatives in Palestine, and it's kind of interesting because we have this kind of continuous dialogue and discussion among each other. So I hope I answered your question.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot. I mean, it's actually very, very interesting, and we have a lot to learn from your experience with the sub-granting, which I think it's a formula that's very interesting and flexible, and that is for the first time available to us as organizations to engage in an effective manner with local grassroots initiatives and to work towards empowering them. So we will be very, very attentive to the process that you're promoting in Palestine. I want to now pass on the word to Marco. Marco Buemi, how are you?
Good, thank you.
You're dealing with a major topic, which is the role of the agro industry in our economies, and particularly the role of women in the industry. The first thing that comes to my mind when I think about this is that throughout the Mediterranean region, there are many gaps when it comes to the role of women in agriculture, and one of them has to do, of course, with ownership and control of the land, but also we see from our long experience in working in development with partners throughout the Mediterranean that there are also issues of unpaid work, especially for women, or the fact that for the same work, women in agriculture will give a much lower wage. These are only some of the aspects of inequality between men and women in economy, and particularly in the field of agriculture. I like to see by sharing information about your project, and you could illustrate us on how the sort of social innovations harbored by InnovAgroWoMed do address these often cultural and economic challenges, and what are the best practices that you have identified as suitable for the implementation and scaling up of a sustainable and fair model for the agricultural sector.
Yeah, thank you, Jose. Thank you, MedTOWN, for this invitation. When I would like to start about when we decided to write this project. There was in mind of course the target group that are women, but also the field where the target group should be increased, and that was exactly the agri-food sector. So there were a lot of thinking about this because we knew that it was a really crucial field of work. I mean, the applicant is the University of Tor Vergata. Together, we were thinking together with the Ministry for Equal Opportunities, which kind of field they were really strategic, but also really weak. And of course, the agri-food sector was one of these because when it comes to the agri-food sector, there is a lot of black market, as you mentioned, a lot of irregular workers, and the double discrimination to be in this particular market, plus to be a woman, made the woman weaker than men, of course. And so we try, to start with this analysis, involving also the other countries. Totally, there are 4 countries involved in this project. We have Italy, we have Spain that have a very similar, experience in this field, and then we have the other part of the Mediterranean. That we have Tunisia, that is, of course, in the Maghreb area, and we choose to have another different experience. And that's why we choose Palestine, so the Middle East. So we have a really, we can say, 3 different cultures and also 3 different situations. But we try to, to involve the woman connected by the same thread. We thought that the most important part was to have a research that could link all the experience in these 4 countries. The research was made by the University of Tor Vergata, and will be available very soon. So I will share with you as soon as we will launch the research. You can find also in our social network if you want to follow. We use Facebook and so on, and LinkedIn and a YouTube channel. The research is made. Is very is very concrete. We talk in the research from training to empower. So from training to work, because I think the field of training is very crucial then to empower the woman and to make women get in the labor market, because the crucial connection that we found during these already 2 years of work is about the training. The women that we are training now, there are 140 women training in these 4 different countries. So we selected 35 women per countries. They missed totally education in the field. So without this education, they could not reach, the labor market, of course, or to be employed, or to be in a path entrepreneurs. So a very particular field for us is to make entrepreneurs also in the field of agri-food. So the research is called Training to Empower, Designing a New Skills Set for Women-Led Social Innovation in Agri-Food. So we thought that the design of new skills in this particular field was crucial also to make them, to give them the chance to be empowered also in the field. The training was made with young, unemployed and women, also coming from the need, sector. So women totally, out from, a training, path or an employment path, starting from the identification of their needs. So before to launch, the call for participation that involved the 4 countries, so every country launched its own call of participation to involve the woman and to select, of course, the woman, the more ambitious woman, the woman that wanted to really be part of this project, because it's a quite long project with a lot of hours involved in education. We have more than 600 hours in education field. So it's really particular. And the new skills are very crucial for our project. We identified 35 women per country that are following the education part. We will finish very soon in February. And then we selected this woman, accompanying them with a tutorship service as well. So every woman has a tutor that follow them, and we have a very we invested very much in the follow-up because the target group that will be then matched in the labor market for her is very high. We have 2 different fields where we will try to invest in the movement in the labor market. One is supporting to the final employment, and the other one is to becoming entrepreneurs in the agri-food sector. So the important, I think, and the very I think innovative part is the skills, the channel for transmission of cultural and tradition together with digital technologies and new skills. So I think we try to link country by country, with differences. Every country has their own culture, own tradition. So we want really to make a particular education, education path for the woman, really targeted for their own country. So I think this is quite particular. And the one thing that we are doing now, we are organizing a winter camp in Jordan, putting together all the women. So we will meet in Jordan. We will select 50 women per country, and we will connect them all together. So we will stay there 5 days, 5 days where we will talk about the entrepreneurship projects that they have. They are working on this now. We have also as Samah was talking about, really interesting actually, the project that I thought about connection with them for sure. The women are preparing their project as an entrepreneurs, of course, and we will sub-grant the best project. So this particular winter camp will focus on education, because I mean we will have 5 days to get in, to work all together, even if in different languages. We have translators, of course, but it represents really a bridge and a concrete action to gather together all the women that follow this, this education since now 7 months. So they can also see something concrete, and they can also be helped by other women in their entrepreneurship ideas.
Thank you, Marco. Very interesting, and definitely a work in progress that will bring you an important insight about the challenges that my feeling is that when it comes to improving the situation of women in the agro industry sector, skills is definitely one part of the challenge, but we're talking about a context where the possibility of abuse in many ways it's great. So probably we're talking about needs that go beyond developing certain professional skills, but also have to do with self-esteem, with knowledge about their rights, with a huge range of aspects that probably we don't have the time to discuss about, but we would like very much to hear later, if we still have the time.
I will tell you a few things about this later.
Okay, all right. So thank you, Marco. Sawsan, hi, good to see you again. So Sawsan, SIRCLES it's a project that's doing something that's very interesting, and I thought it's the sort of innovation that in a context like Palestine can have a disruptive dimension. Palestine, we were talking before with Samah, it's under a very complex situation that's called a military occupation of many decades by now, and it has a concrete impact in environmental situation. Start with there's a very inefficient, ineffective waste management context in the country, because essentially there are permits to develop a proper infrastructure, landfills, etc. So you've come up with an approach that it's not only useful for Palestine or only relevant to Palestine, which is developing a community-managed local approach to managing organic waste and in a way that it encourages or promotes local economy and circular economy. I find this to be a formula that solves a protracted problem in Palestine, where landfills are accumulating trash and burning uncontrolled situations in many occasions. No, so but the key to this is that you need to build alliances locally. You need to build trust between the private sector, the families, the local authorities, and reach agreements that will enable perhaps even environmental activists. So agreements that which enable this model. Are you finding it feasible? Is it something that you're managing to do?
First, thank you very much for inviting me, and really I'm amazing about all the projects and the experts that are involved. It is a very big challenge to bring all these stakeholders to build this, let's say, business model or based on the circular economy. Especially in the solid waste management, which is a big challenge in Palestine due to the limited number of landfills, because of a number of, let's say, issues regarding the occupation, because they are not allowed to build number of landfill or sanitary landfills. Regarding circles, yeah, it is a new, let's say, opportunity in Palestine when we are talking about supporting opportunities or employment and also and social inclusion, especially in bio-waste sector. We are targeting this, let's say, sector because it is the percentage of bio-waste in the solid waste is around 60% of our solid waste, the content. How to do, or the objective of this project is to increase green jobs, targeting the need and women by providing them skills on different issues. The needs they will be given a training, a theoretical and practical training, in addition to soft skills and entrepreneurial skills. The theoretical skills, all of these skills will be on environmental education and separation and collection of bio-waste, in addition to the soft skills about social, cognitive, and entrepreneurial skills. How we can achieve that regarding or the approach, as you mentioned, Jose, that we bringing and contacting all the relevant, let's say, stakeholders, public stakeholders, ministries that they are working on solid waste management or employment and social issues. We need to, and in addition to the private sectors, all of these, we are working. First, we identify their roles in the project and in the this issue about the bio-waste sector and social inclusion. Through this, we let's say in HWE analyzing all the policies and the strategies so that we can sit with each other, with HWE and all the ministries or stakeholders, and talk and set a dialogue to reach our goal in this project. How can these needs will be inserted in a labor? You know, how these green jobs will be in our strategy, in our strategies and policies. All of these issues will be discussed, and also how can green jobs will be in our employment strategy, you know, and in our also and these all needs how will be let's say supported socially and economically in Palestine. We started the training, but let's say maybe some cultural challenges regarding women. How will they work on this? Let's say in these issues in the private in this, these green jobs regarding the separation, collection, or producing the composting, and to be inserted in the private sector like the hotels and restaurants, and work on separation and collection the organic waste in the private sectors. Maybe that this is one of the challenges that we are working on by raising the awareness of these let's say the importance of these green jobs in terms of environment. And one of also the challenges that we face, that there is no clear laws regarding the separation and collection of organic waste, and how, let's say, with regard to the private sectors, we are talking about the hotels and restaurants. Because when we are working on the household that needs lots of efforts to be done, how we can separate the organic waste or the let's say the waste by the household. So we first begin with targeting the private sectors. It is hotels, because we are talking about employment and opportunities for these needs. When we are target these let's say need, just about the creation and about empowering them to work on these jobs. Also, we are encouraging them by giving them entrepreneurial skills, how to develop their business model with regard to let's say the production of composting and developing organic farm in their let's say areas or cities or towns. These issues, we by these skills and by raising their capacities, we are supporting these needs to build their business model on the production of organic of composting and developing their organic farms. For the achievement, we are trying to build the, let's say, to develop policy toolkit, so that we inserting all of the issues that we are discussing with all of these stakeholders. We will bring them on the round table, all the stakeholders, and put all the issues, laws, skills, their needs, social inclusion. All of these issues will be discussed and came up hopefully with a policy toolkit, and developing these alliances and local alliances, strategic alliances with all stakeholders. We are, by this project, trying to linkage between all of these stakeholders. We are talking about private sectors, their bio waste, they coming to the composting plant, and this is composting plant, developing the composting and going to the farmers, to their farms, and bring production of food for this, and come up to the private sectors to sell these, let's say, products. So we are going to build a linkage or a circular economy for all of these stakeholders to be involved and come up with this business model. I hope so that we can, yes, achieve this goal. Thank you very much.
Well, it's important to also talk about the fact that SIRCLES project and MedTOWN are initiating a collaboration by which our partners in Palestine will be seeing the feasibility of using a system of social vouchers or a local payment system to encourage household separation as part of the model that as a complementary action to the ones carried out by SIRCLES. Well, it was all very interesting, Sawsan. Well, there's one last guest, last but not less important, of course, which is Dirk, working for Aquacycle, taking on a key aspect to sustainability in the Mediterranean region, which is water scarcity as a whole, and in particular the potential for reuse of treated water for agriculture industry, for all of the needs in our economy societies. Reading about your project, we see that the sort of formulas that have been tested or implemented until now in large portions of the Mediterranean, well, they are simply not working. They have high operational and maintenance costs. They are designed for other contexts, perhaps, and the result is that very little water, treated water, is being reutilized in our societies. No? So why do you think these formulas are unsuited to addressing the local challenges of wastewater treatment? I mean, is this just an issue of technology, of design, or there are other local cultural aspects that are not being taken into account? And what are the ramifications of all of these, social, cultural, economic?
Thank you, Jose. You're absolutely right. But let me first of all thank the organizers for inviting Aquacycle project to be here. And it's been a real pleasure to listen to all the previous presentations. For the sake of avoiding confusion or misunderstanding, I am presenting Aquacycle here in my role as communication manager of the project. And the lead beneficiary of Aquacycle is the Center for Research and Technology, CERT in Greece. And I know that Georgia, as project coordinator of MedTOWN, on her way back home over the Christmas period, had the opportunity to meet Dr. Kostas Plakas in person and our colleagues in Greece. From the very outset of Aquacycle, we have realized, and we are of course aware, that a single project, it's difficult to bring about really lasting change. So I therefore congratulate our project manager, Dr. Kostas Plakas, for his initiative very early on in the project to establish synergies with other ENI CBCMed funded projects under the water efficiency pillar. And in fact, I can share with you that recently this has crystallized in CERT being awarded a follow-up project, a capitalization project that is called MedUP. Now, Aquacycle, we have, of course, also our own capitalization plan. And this capitalization plan is actually built on two pillars. There is a need for a technological push, of course, because we have to explain what makes this low-cost, eco-innovative wastewater treatment system different and better than conventional treatment systems. But the second pillar can be possibly even more important because it is concerned with driving an awareness pull among society towards a new technology. So this is our true two-pronged strategy. I'll say a few words about both because both are addressed to different and complementary target audiences. So in terms of a technological push, we are obviously looking at business angels, investors. And during this week, we had a booth, Aquacycle booth for 4 days at the Water, Energy, Food Nexus Innovation Week. We welcomed 275 visitors. So this was a good opportunity to showcase a 3-dimensional miniature model of the eco-innovative technology. Also, in this technological push pillar, we are seeking the attention of wastewater treatment plant operators and decision makers. So in the first year of the project, or perhaps a little beyond because of the inability of partners to organize physical events at times, there was a first series of stakeholder workshops organized in Lebanon, Spain, and Tunisia. And together with a desk research, this allowed the compilation of a SWOT analysis of the local governance framework with respect to water and sanitation. So, as the communication manager of the managing authority, Mr. Martin Hebel, addressed in his lucid presentation at the WEF Nexus Innovation Week, it is not a secret that the Mediterranean is a hotspot for climate change. So the situation is actually quite alarming, particularly in Lebanon, where aside from non-functioning of existing wastewater treatment plants or many areas not being connected to a sewerage network, there is a lack of fresh water that has led farmers to irrigate with raw sewage. And that in itself is alarming, and therefore we have seen our colleagues at the university in Lebanon have been calling upon the authorities to have a new vision of how the water and sanitation sector is looked at. We are in a better position in Tunisia because Tunisia has a long tradition of regulations, institutional setup to deal with reuse of treated effluent. They have regulations that establish, for example, a list of crops that can be irrigated, and yet the level of reuse, as to be fair, also around Europe in total, is very low. So the outcome in Tunisia is we need to look at a revised strategy. Could include looking at the pricing mechanism, could include many things, but definitely there is room to improve the uptake of treated effluent in Tunisia, even though the regulations promote it. And finally, we have our colleagues in Spain, and they are in the Murcia region of Spain, which is among the notable exceptions in Europe. The level of reuse of treated effluent in Murcia is among the highest in Europe. So that allows us to encourage our colleagues in Spain to call on them to go beyond what has been achieved in Murcia and take it to other regions, this knowledge to other regions of Spain, and even beyond the borders of Spain. I'm saying this because our low-cost, eco-innovative wastewater treatment technology, which is about to be tested, we have seen the construction of a first pilot plant in Murcia itself. First tests are being carried out. The aspiration is that this treatment technology will meet the latest and most recent regulations on the reuse of treated effluent in Europe. Is of crucial importance because if not, economically, also Murcia stands to lose. A lot of what they produce is for export to other parts of Europe. So they are planning to take the outcomes of the technology. There's no point in advocating among the ones that are already convinced. They are going to take the information, the knowledge to farmers in the adjoining region of Almeria in Spain. Okay, let me come now to the awareness pool, because the awareness pool is addressed to civil society in general, but to show in practice how it works, I mean, we aim for best practice. We are organizing a second series of stakeholder events around the 3 sites where the demo plants are built. So we are again talking about a workshop in Lebanon, in Tunisia, and in Spain. Thankfully, a first of these could already be held. It took place in December in Tunisia. We are praying that it will be possible to organize a physical event also in Spain and Lebanon very soon. This workshop is bringing together the farmers and other local community representatives. So the mayor could be NGOs. We are also making sure that women and youth will be present at this meeting. And what we are going to use during this meeting, our company has been employing the use of participatory GIS since FP6, since EU-funded FP6 program, through FP7, Horizon 2020, the precursor of ENI, the EMPI project, etc. So we have a long experience of understanding how the power of maps works. In reality, we are using a satellite image, and this could be a printout or it could be online. We have organized PGIS landing pages in Aquacycle already for the 3 pilot demo units. So when you bring together farmers and local communities, wherever, and we've done this from India to Brazil, we've been everywhere with this approach, people immediately show you where they are living on the map. They read a satellite map with no problem. It's universal. And many people today use Google My Maps or similar platforms, and they navigate and they look for a restaurant where to eat. So it's another tool, if used online, that many people, millions of people are already using. We are using this platform to show that it is possible to involve local people in decision-making in water and sanitation sector. Now, you may tell me, but isn't participatory decision-making required in the EU Water Framework Directive? Yes, but if somebody can give me an example of true participatory decision-making, I am going to listen. I know there is one very good example, that's the Danube river basin management, which bring together actors at all levels of society among very many different countries. But till now, since 10 years, the EU has been trying to duplicate this for the Mediterranean, and according to a research brief presented to the European Parliament in November, this has so far failed. So we are aiming to be arrogant and we are aiming to disprove that it is perfectly, to disprove that we are living in a top-down part of the world. No, it is possible to work bottom-up. It is possible to invite people to show the experts, if we are the experts on water management. No, listen to them. Let them tell you where they would like to reuse the water. And if we listen to that, we might actually get one simple thing right: where to put the plants. In many parts of Europe, not just in the Mediterranean, plants end up in a place where it's economically not very viable to reuse the water. One problem. And as I said before, there is at the moment this new regulation of the EU concerning the reuse of treated effluent, where, for example, the criteria on E. coli in the water are 10 times stricter than that of bathing water. So, whereas it is perfectly safe to swim in a sea or in waters or fresh water that has something like 500 E. coli, no. When it comes to reuse in agriculture, it has to be 10 times lower. So we hope to be able to demonstrate soon that this eco-innovative technology, which consists in 2 already commercially available technologies that are well known. It's a first stage, anaerobic digestion and constructed wetlands. There is a third component.
We might have lost Dirk. It would seem to be the case. Well, in any case, I think he was already concluding, and the bells, the beautiful sound bells that we could hear behind him, was already a pressing reminder that we had well exceeded the time of his second panel, and so even though I had many things lined up for you, because you've all identified that, you know, in spite of the potential of social and solidarity economy and the innovations, Dirk, we've lost you. I was taking the opportunity to conclude the panel because it's already late. So if you allow me, so I was noting down the sort of challenges that you have been mentioned, and they range from legal and regulatory challenges, awareness and knowledge, to the political instability in certain regions, including the issue of refugees and other vulnerable groups, but also cultural and economic challenges, ones related to financing, gender inclusion. All of those are elements that are hampering the potential of social and solidarity economy. And I was going to ask you, what can we do to overcome those challenges? What, from the perspective of civil society organizations, of practitioners on the ground, can be done? But since they are asking me to rightfully to finish the panel, I would actually invite you to continue this discussion, and I'm talking both about you panelists and also the audience, in the space of the community of practice of the MedTOWN project, which is a growing platform where local public officers, NGO practitioners, people from academia, from the private sector are engaging to precisely discuss these things. How can we activate the potential of social and solidarity economy in the region of the Mediterranean? And so I would very happily place the questions for you there in this forum. Georgia got ahead of me and shared the link. So this is the link to the MedTOWN community of practice, and now through a capitalization project, not different from the one that Dirk was referring to, is going to involve the communities of practice of projects like MedUP and MoreThanAJob, among others, so that the community grows bigger and we can learn from each other and support each other over the incoming years. So I just want to thank you very much, all of the panelists, also our audience, and I would like to pass on the word again to Yanis as our host today in Greece.
Thank you very much. It was really interesting going through the conversation in the two panels. Positive thinking that definitely it contributes to the political dialogue, and it's very good that we started like that with the keynote speech. We are going to close this seminar with a short video from Pageo, which is the place, a small municipality in North Greece, where we apply some of our MedTOWN activities. Once again, thank you very much for your participation, and we remain here working for the project and expecting the good impact and the positive impact for our local society. Thank you very much.